Good evening and welcome back to another episode of It's a Football Thing. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. That is not RJ down the bottom. That is Tom from the United Pubcast. He's our super sub. You know what? Let's not even call him that. Let's say he's a transfer. We've sold RJ and we've signed Tom for an undisclosed fee to join us tonight. Tom, how you going, boss?
Yeah, well, mate. Well, in terms of Manchester United and Chelsea, who knows? There could be a swap deal on the cards soon with someone going the other way. So who knows? I'm definitely not on the route to Chelsea. But no, to be fair, thank you for the invite. Always a pleasure to chat football with you, lads.
We will be talking about Manchester United, a particular GOAT, and possibly Chelsea, because I've got a hunch about Chelsea Football Club in this story. But let's go to you, Robbie, my man. How you going? Looking fresh?
Good, mate. Good. Like I said, had a good weekend footballing wise. Until I got crash and burn a bit from yesterday morning. But look, again, I am getting the World Cup vibes. One less than a week away now, so hopefully we get past all this. And in a couple of days we'll be really getting into that.
Yes. Bang on, Robbie. Look, for those who haven't seen the agenda for the evening, we are going to cover Cristiano Ronaldo's bombshell interview with Piers Morgan. We are, of course, going to talk about the ramifications for Ronaldo, for the club, for the fans, for his legacy. What impact does this have? And I can't wait to hear the boys' perspective on that. We'll also be looking at the table. We're not quite halfway through the season, but we're basically halfway through the season. We're going to talk about what shocked us, my boys at the top of the league, and all the other clubs, and how we think the first part of the season's played out. And then we are going to need your help. Because we are going to together try and agree, and I'm outnumbered by the Reds tonight, but we're going to try and agree on a Premier League team of the season so far. So which players have impressed us most and are the best of the best for now. So we're going to need you to do that. If you are new to the channel, please smash the like button, and if you're watching this back on repeat, comment on some players that you think need to be in that team. But let's get straight to it. Cristiano Ronaldo has come out. We all know he hasn't been happy this season. I don't think you need to be an absolute genius to know that Cristiano Ronaldo is not a happy chappy at Manchester United this season. There have been some things in his personal life as well, some tragedies, but I just think it's footballing reasons as well. It's a combination of personal, footballing, the environment, the results, the change. It's a combination of things. But he's come out with this exclusive tell-all interview with Piers Morgan. If you haven't seen clips by now, you're living under a rock. He's unloaded on Neville, Rooney, the Glazers, the squad, the club, the direction. And I want to get to the nitty-gritty, boys, because obviously Tom runs with Larry the United Pubcast. There's a link to their channel in the description. And I know you've done a video on this already. But Tom, let's come straight to you. Where do you sit with these comments? As a fan, what was your reaction when you saw the snippets come out?
Well, before I saw the snippets and I saw he sat down with Piers Morgan and there was an interview, I said, okay, his time at United's done. Okay, this is obviously going to be the tell-all interview. There was rumours that this was going to happen during the transfer window in pre-season, that he was going to do this tell-all interview. Now, I think that was under the assumption that he was going to leave, and after he left, he was going to do the interview. Now, obviously, he stayed, so the club said, don't open your mouth. Now, I think there has been an agreement. We saw he didn't play in the Fulham game. This is obviously very likely when the interview was recorded, a little bit before the Fulham game. Erik ten Hag said, you're not playing in this. It looks like his future or career is over at Manchester United. So he's come out and done this tell-all interview. Now, so there's no way back, and I'm sure Rob will touch on that as well in terms of I can't see a scenario where he plays for Manchester United again. But my feeling in regards to when I saw the interview and the snippets, first of all, just from a Man United fan and obviously a Ronaldo fan as well, obviously the memories that he has given us over the last 20 years are sort of priceless. It's hurtful, it's sad, it's a shame it has come to this. Now, Ronaldo is solely responsible for his actions. Ronaldo is the one at fault for what he's saying. He needs to take full responsibility, of course, but I think Man United fans do need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture and the position that the club have put Ronaldo in. Now, again, that's not defending Ronaldo, but there are two sides to this. But ultimately, in regards to the Ronaldo aspect of it, he's in the wrong here. Now, he does say some very good things, which I think ultimately could benefit Manchester United. But ultimately, in regards to what matters to us now on a Saturday needing 3 points, it's not helping things. So ultimately, it has come to a situation which is a shame for Manchester United fans that his time at United is done, and this interview was the last straw.
Robbie, we're going to break up. I think the best way to tackle this, because I could see us going down a rabbit hole and being here for an hour talking about just this interview and the ramifications. But I think the best thing to do is for us to break open some of the main talking points from the interview and really address this question that's come in from Shano, who I know will be loving this, but saying the timing of the interview is not ideal. I don't think there's ever a good time for something like this. But was anything he said actually wrong? And I think when we break open each topic, we might be able to see some places where we agree and some places where we maybe disagree as well. But what do you make of the timing, Robbie? Has this timing really annoyed you?
I think the timing suits him. He's pretty much snookered the club into a decision. Obviously, he kind of wanted this, as we've seen in the last transfer window. It didn't get over the line, and we could see from many aspects that his manager was trying to get a move for him. He obviously said, "I want to move." Obviously, the private life situation with his daughter, which for me, straight off the bat, is always family first. So if that had to just do with the preseason, fine. You had family issues, you want to stay with your family, 100% agree. That's the end of the line there for that one, okay? Because I still think it's weird how that was in August or July, and now we're in November. It's funny how it's just after the last game before the World Cup. By the time the World Cup's finished, it's a week out from the transfer window. He's played his cards right now. For me, it's a little bit more even of he's throwing his toys out of the pram, definitely as well. He hasn't been happy with his game time. I don't like how he came out with the whole "I don't respect Ten Hag." That's where straight away I just go red in the face from seeing that comment straight away, because I think Eric's done everything to protect him and be on his side for majority of everything that's happened. You're gonna say, when he had the situation 1, 2, 3 times, he's kind of got a couple crosses this season, and Eric's always been on his side. On the third strike, he put him out of the team for a week. Next week, he put him back in the team. He hadn't served his punishment. He was captain for us last week, for God's sake. So I don't know where the non-disrespect, Eric doesn't respect me, I don't respect him, comes from.
I guess there's always two sides to every story. And Ronaldo did say that. I was watching a snippet earlier this evening. He says, you don't see what happens on the training pitch or in the video sessions or in the back room. So I do think for him to come out and say, I don't respect Ten Hag because Ten Hag doesn't respect me. We all know that when you're in front of a camera, you play that game, you play that media game, and Ten Hag's not inexperienced. He knows what he's doing. To wage war publicly against Ronaldo and make it look like he's at fault is not smart. So I actually think this has played out really well for Ten Hag, but there's always that second side. Tom, I want to come to you on one of the issues. He's come out and said Ten Hag doesn't respect him. Robbie's saying he doesn't like the timing. Where are you at? Do you think there could be a reason why Ronaldo feels disrespected?
Yeah, I think there's a few things in regards to the reason. I think actions speak louder than words. Eric Ten Hag, I've fallen on the side of Eric Ten Hag. If I'm picking sides on this, I'm on Eric Ten Hag's side. However, yes, he has spoken a good game in regards to press conferences and interviews. But ultimately, as you say, we don't know what happens at the training ground. We don't know, are they doing video sessions? And over a 45-minute video session, 44 minutes was on Ronaldo. I think some things like that potentially, I'm not saying that's the case, but maybe those are things behind the scenes. Now, in regards to sort of respect and Eric Ten Hag, that is a line sort of Rob agreed or sort of alluded to as well. And it's the one thing that gets me as well. That's the bit of the interview I don't like. I don't respect Eric Ten Hag. But really, I don't know what I'm angry at in regards to that, because I've got no real issue with he doesn't respect Eric Ten Hag. I'm sure Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't respect Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag is playing Malacia, who's a kid from Holland, who's left-footed. He's playing him at right back over Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Players in clubs, whatever the club, even in our treble-winning season, players don't respect managers. Some managers don't respect players. That happens. My issue is it being made public. So the issue of Ronaldo not respecting Eric Ten Hag, or Eric Ten Hag having an issue with Ronaldo, that's life. The best player I ever played with, who had a great chemistry on the field, I hated him. He hated me. We at war with each other. We suited each other on the pitch. It wasn't an issue. These things happen. But ultimately, Robbie's right. In terms of it's been aired publicly, That is the issue. Now, Ronaldo has his reasons for that. I don't agree with those reasons, but it has come to the stage that he has been, both he and the club have put themselves in the position. This is almost the final straw, and he's pretty much, I don't know, Rob, if you want to sort of jump on this as well, he's asking to be sacked.
Yeah, 100%. He's asking to be sacked, and knowing him, he wants to be sacked and paid out at the same time, which again, knowing the Glazers and Man
I don't
United,
think he cares about the money, Rob. I don't think he cares about. I think if United said let's mutually terminate and you go, we'll go, see ya, I think he goes.
I think they'll both, if that was to happen, if they mutually go, they'll both say, okay, good. Because for me, from the start, I think Ten Hag is more than happy. Not that he wanted him to go, but I think he's more than happy. Okay, if Ronaldo's going to go, it's not going to be like the end of the world kind of thing. Because as we've seen this year, Ronaldo is doing not the talking with his feet. At the moment, he's doing it with his mouth. And Ten Hag, you can see who his number one is. Obviously, he keeps playing people like Anthony Martial, even though he's been unfit for half the season. As soon as he's back, he's straight in front of that team, playing number 9 in front of Ronaldo. So Ronaldo, I thought, is the past now, and he's looking towards the future, definitely. So I don't think playing-wise, it's a big loss. And I think for Ronaldo, I think that's also a bit selfish as well, because I just think that he wants to continuously back himself with his records and stuff. I don't think he's going to like the whole Messi in the Champions League catching up to his records because he's missed the Champions League. I think he'll go anywhere at the moment in January. Yep. That's a Champions League team, just so he can protect the record like that. And like I said, for me, he's definitely put himself out there as he's done in the last window. But I personally don't see a lot of people coming in for him. That's the thing. The wage number 1, his form number 2, and obviously just dropping a video like this. If you're a manager or if you're a club owner, would you say, hey, I want Ronaldo? Don't worry about the marketing point of it. Look at the whole respect and how he's just dropped this out of, airing his dirty laundry out in public for the world to see. Would you want a player like that come to your club?
Let's come to that in a minute. Let's come to that towards the end.
One more quick one, Boogie. Arsenal. You're the one that said you want to strengthen. You take him. You take him for, even though he's not in form, even though he costs an arm and a leg.
I said it 20 minutes ago, Rob. I said it 20 minutes ago. I said if Arsenal is serious about this title, now I don't think it happens for many reasons, and you're not going to get the Ronaldo. You're not going to get the mentality of what you need. But the footballer, if you can convince Ronaldo, come and win us a title. If Arsenal really do want it, in terms of what they need, now Ronaldo doesn't want to be a squad player, come off the bench, but ideally he would be perfect for Arsenal in January.
Now, for me, Robbie, on that, because I kind of
just got rid of the Aubameyang.
And this is where I wanted to go with it, because we know what Mikel Arteta's like. Yeah, the player. If he doesn't like you, you're gone. If you're not going to buy in completely to his philosophy, he's ruthless.
And there's no way Ronaldo would buy into that philosophy.
Now, when I say I would take him, I only take him if it's made very clear to him during that signing and contractual process that if you come here, you're not our starting striker. That's Gabriel Jesus. He's not being, unless I want to rotate, you're not the starting striker. You're an impact substitute or someone I will rotate and use as I need you. And it's my way or the highway. And I would have a clause in the contract. I don't even know if it's legal, but some kind of clause in the contract where if you're not playing ball, I'm terminating you. But I actually think in terms of the football quality, mate, he could come in and he could score goals at Arsenal. He doesn't need to. He would have great service. He would have great service. And with the role that he would have to come in and play, I would take him. Who wouldn't take Ronaldo on their bench? Now, Shano is saying that he wouldn't take him at Newcastle United. I think they would take him. It's a marquee signing.
He's going to leave the club, and do you think, he's going to be happy to sit on the bench? That's his issue right now. He's going to go to Arsenal with Europa League football. He's going to go to Arsenal. Yes, they're top of the table and playing great and 2-3 years ahead of the process of us. But for me, that's a bigger risk for him on really losing his legacy of going to a Premier League rival. The exact thing, Europa League football, and to come off the bench, which he wants. That's why his biggest issue is at the moment. He wants to be playing, and he wants to be the main man. And there's no way he'd go to the 11 at Arsenal straight away.
I think his actions coming out and doing this, he's shown he does not give a stuff now about that Manchester United legacy. And I want to come to Tom on this because, Tom, one of my criticisms of United fans is your Glazers out when it's bad, and it's very public. Rob and I fight about this all the time. Rob will tell me that they're a chance, and I agree. You can see the evidence. But to me, it's not as Glazers out as when it's bad. It can easily be papered over with some nice signings, some good football. And the Glazers have given you a manager with a philosophy and a direction, and you're seeming on the up. Now, I keep getting told by United fans that no, we are still adamantly Glazers out. These guys don't want the best of the club. They're a disease on the club. Cristiano Ronaldo has now opened the door on that. But what I'm seeing overwhelmingly, and this isn't every United fan, but the social media buzz, is everyone's turning on Ronaldo. Yeah, when he's saying things that I've seen very knowledgeable Man United fans say over the years, like the training hasn't improved, the equipment is all the same, the gym is still the same. Like, we haven't evolved since Sergei left. And for one of the greatest players of all time to say that, like, I know where you are on the Glazers, Tom, because you're very clear, unlike a lot of others. But surely you can see a little bit of his point. But I think he's now the battering ram that the Glazers are going to use again to divert. We're on the right track. It's all this Ronaldo guy bringing us down. Let's get rid of him. Forget about us. We're in the shadows. Where are you with the Glazers thing? Has Ronaldo opened a doorway?
Look, you echo a lot of my thoughts there, and there's a few different aspects you did cover there, but ultimately, I understand your feeling in regards to when things are bad, the Glazers out, and sort of movement jumps up in regards to a lot of attention. It is still there 100%, and it's still as volatile. However, it's so emotionally and so mentally draining in regards to, because there's no answer to, in terms of there's no end game where we can result in getting the Glazers out. It's what's the point? Okay, so during pre-season, in terms of when there's no football, sort of that energy sparks up. But when there's football on a Saturday, then you've got a game the next day. Well, what's going to happen? We're not going to get the Glazers out by the weekend, so we talk about other things. So yes, we should be more adamant and we should be more forceful with that. We're just not as football fans. We shouldn't buy the kits. We do buy the kits. It's just football fans and Manchester United fans, we're hypocrites. We accept that. In regards to Ronaldo's influence, in regards to him coming out and mentioning the Glazers, that is where I'm very hesitant in regards to sort of abusing Ronaldo and say, get the F out of my club. I don't want you here. You've tarnished your legacy. Because yes, I'm very hurt in regards to how it is ending, and it's not great. Ideally, obviously, it's not a good situation. But I think in 10 years' time, now this is who knows what's going to happen. The Glazers might invest even more money now. I'm not sure. Not that the Glazers personally invest, but they might stay around even longer. But ultimately, in 10 years, the Glazers haven't listened to Manchester United fans. In how long have they been in charge now? Since 2005. They've communicated twice with Manchester United fans. Both times have been apologies. The last one being the Super League. Two communications in 17 years or something. So there has been no communication. They do not listen to the fans. They will listen to Ronaldo. They will hear this and they will take note. Investors will take note. When the biggest voice in world football and world sport says the owners don't care about the club, that will have an impact. The Glazers will listen to this. Now, what direction they take from that, I'm not sure. But hopefully, from a Man United fan's point of view, they take it to heart and investors say, hang on, what's happening here? And action is taken. I'm not sure how that will unfold. But ultimately, yes. Now, Ronaldo has his own self-interest motives on why he's saying this. Ronaldo's not doing this for the benefit of the club. He's saving face. But ultimately, as fans, we could potentially benefit from it. I'm going to say thank you, Cristiano.
Rob, I'm going to give you the final comment on this before we move on. But before I give you that final comment, I actually see this as a triple win for Manchester United. The reason I see this as a win for the club as a whole is, one, you've all been saying you want Ronaldo gone, that he's hurting your team. He's going after this. He doesn't play for your club again. So there's a win for the bulk of fans. With the Glazers, it either goes two ways. They either now have to pull their finger out and spare themselves the humiliation of global, worldwide criticism, because we know Ronaldo is more influential than many clubs on their own. They either now have to pull their finger out and say, no, look, watch what we do in January. We are serious about the club. Or now they're open to even more criticism, more scrutiny. People are against them. I actually think this is a great thing for your club. You all seem, not all, but a lot of fans seem happy to chuck Cristiano Ronaldo out anyway. Prior to this, I was seeing him get all sorts of blame when he wasn't even playing. So I actually think this could be a win for Manchester United. Do you see any positive from this, Rob?
Yeah, like I see a positive. And look, let me first just say, his legacy and his memories that he's given me over the years, I'll never be forgotten. It's just I'm pretty simple, mate. He's done the wrong thing. For me this year, as you've heard throughout the year, I've been the one that's like, our team's worse with him in it. And like I said the other night, I think Portugal is going to be in the same position in this World Cup too. I just think, unfortunately, he's coming to that part of his career when he's going downhill now. He's not going to go any more up. He's already peaked for too many years. For the club-wise, again, as we just said, for Ten Hag, I think it works easy for him. He's not pushing him out the door. He's pretty much walking out the door.
Yep.
The club, for now, we need a striker. We need a striker in January with Ronaldo in the team because, as we've seen, how thin we are and how injury prone. But it's injury prone, mate. I told you we started with Elanga on the right on Friday because Anthony's been injured. Anthony Martial, I told you, he's played probably a quarter of the season if he's lucky. Plus other people that are playing out of position, like left wingers playing in striker. So we need a striker in January no matter what. Now that he's actually going to be gone, which 90% we think is definitely going to happen, big wage bill out the door will follow him. He needs to go and he needs to be backed with someone that Ten Hag wants, a younger player who's going to suit his philosophy and his system. And at the moment, I told you, this season under Ten Hag, we're already going slowly up and up and up. I even think we're a little bit in front of our trajectory for where some people would have us right now. So, again, as you said, it's come to this. And like I said, like such a legend of the club, who, to me, he will always be a legend of the club. I've got a sour taste in my mouth about the whole situation right now. So let it flow in a couple months. As long as it doesn't go to a rival for me, it'll blow over soon enough.
Just a quick fire, boys. Let's not explain it too much. What do you think? Who do you think his next club will be? For me, it's Chelsea Football Club.
I think there's no chance he goes to Chelsea Football Club, and it's got nothing to do with the rivalry. I don't think that Chelsea.
Give me a club.
I honestly don't know. That's my biggest problem. I don't see anyone that's going to come up with it. I don't see anything coming up with it. Bayern was today. Straight away, Bayern was linked.
That's my one shout. Well, I can't see it, but they should do it. They should do it. It's risk free for Bayern. They should, but they won't. Yeah,
they should, but they won't. Again, okay. I don't think that they'll go down that road, even though they should. I don't know. For me, I don't know, mate. I really can't pick anyone.
And that's Scott. That's a tricky spot. The club will benefit from Cristiano Ronaldo staying back and Ronaldo go out and model his training kit for us. The club will keep him around if they want it in terms of the marketing value.
Mate, Tom, he ain't modeling Jack, mate. There is no way. He doesn't need the money. It's different with a lot of players. They need the money, so they're kind of bound. They don't want to get fined he doesn't need the money.
Yeah, but if you draw up the scenario where he can't leave, no club comes in for him, and he's stuck at Manchester United, Manchester United will keep him there. If Man United want a transfer fee and no club matches that, Man United will keep him. And that's, again, a point to the Glazers to say they're doing the wrong business.
Clean break, mate. Just rip the Band-Aid off, take the financial hit. What you'll save in wages is going to be far more than any transfer fee you'd get for him. Now, in my opinion, you've all been saying that he's bringing the team down. He's now come out and done this, which makes his relationship with the manager untenable. Take the hit.
You can't go back into the dressing room.
You don't need a transfer fee. What?
No, I never said that. I said he can't go back into the dressing room. I think apparently he even called out a few players like Elanga and Sancho, if that's true.
I don't blame him for doing that.
Even for, again, just to wrap it up, just on a solid principle, people got the shit about yesterday. We just come on a win from one of our youngest up-and-coming players scoring the last-minute win to get 3 points when he wasn't there. And then a couple hours later, he dropped this and then bang. Again, it's just like what happened in a Tottenham game. We had one of our best
similarities
of the season.
Huge similarities to Alex Ferguson and Roy Keane.
Yeah.
100%,
well, look,
100%.
Neutrals are enjoying this. I have to admit, you guys have sat back for many years. You had your golden patch. You enjoyed laughing at everyone else's club. I know now I'm enjoying watching this happen. Because I do fear a resurgent Man United. I don't want you to keep improving. I want something to bring you down. And I think keeping him there, keeping him in that squad, it's like having a disease but refusing to take medicine for it. I just think it will be club suicide. But let's move on, boys. I know that people are looking forward to this team of the season. So let's do the team of the season now. And we can talk about the table and things at the end because, I mean, we've been talking about the season already. We know how well Arsenal are playing. We know that City are there. Like a lot of the big points we know. But let's get straight into our team of the season. The way we're going to do this, gents, we're going to try and collaborate and agree. Now, we're going to go, Robbie told me pre-stream that you boys both went with a 4-4-2. So I'm going to compromise. I'll go with a 4-4-2 as well. Some positions are going to be quite easy, I think. Others, we might need to really hash it out. Live chat, make sure you let us know who you think should be picked for the position. And if you're watching it back when this is all done, let us know if you like the team or where we got it wrong. Let's start with the man between the sticks, the goalkeeper. Boys, for me, the two teams that have conceded the least goals are Newcastle and Arsenal. Nick Pope, Aaron Ramsdale, both with equal clean sheets. Ramsdale has had a few shaky games for me. There have been some moments where he hasn't necessarily covered himself with glory, but I don't seem to recall a lot of them from Nick Pope. So for me, I'm actually leaning to Nick Pope as my goalkeeper so far. Where are you at with this, Tom?
Yeah, I think it's hard in terms of, it is hard. You do look at a defensive sort of record in regards to the team and how much you put down to the goalkeeper and how much you put down to the back four. In terms of a goalkeeper that's sort of active and he'll get you points in Fantasy Premier League, it might be someone at the bottom of the table who's very active and making a lot of saves. So how do you weigh that up? But in regards to the job Nick Pope is doing at Newcastle, whether he's been brilliant or whether he's been sort of a solid 7 out of 10, Newcastle are going very well, and for a team to be going very well, you do need that solid base, and obviously he's doing something very right. It's a very solid, sort of steady pair of hands. And I think the one or two times he has been called on, you think, okay, yeah, no, he's a keeper. And I'll definitely have him over Jordan Pickford. I'm sure you're going to have World Cup discussions over the coming weeks in terms of, I think Pickford is potentially still number one in England. I don't agree with that. I think Nick Pope is performing quite well, and yeah, I definitely wouldn't disagree. Nothing against Aaron Ramsdale. I think a few Arsenal players will work their way into this team. But for this one, I would go the Newcastle keeper.
What about you, Robbie? Anything different to Pope and Ramsdale? Is there someone else? I know seeing the call for David De Gea, but I just don't think he's been at the level of those two guys.
He's been great. Look, in my team, I've got my team in front of me. Pope is in my team. I do think a shout out for Raya as well, the Brentford goalkeeper. Shot stopping as like I said, one of the, not a bottom team, but someone who's a little bit more busy in between the sticks. I think his shot stopping and actual saves is probably a lot higher than both of these teams. Again, because he hasn't got a great defense in front of him. But definitely for this team of the season so far has to be Pope.
Now, boys, let's just try and nail in a few that might be quite not controversial. Surely we've all got Erling Haaland in there, correct? Yep,
I've definitely got him.
Tom,
I'll give you a case for Cristiano Ronaldo over Haaland if you do want.
Oh, look, maybe let's not go there with that, hey? Look, big Erling Haaland has to be in there. He's been an absolute phenomenon. The way he's come in and he's adapted to this league, it's hard to go past him. Are there any other positions, boys, where you are dead set nailed on somebody?
I think
I've got Saliba at the back, and you'll be pleased to hear that, Scott. But I think he has been very impressive.
Okay, look, I had him as well, so I'm going to lock Saliba in too. This will just help us. I don't like that it's got the Marseille badge, but we know who he plays for. We certainly know. A little bit glitchy, of course. Saliba has had a really good season. Don't get me wrong. There have certainly been moments where Saliba's had some maybe shaky moments, but when you think again, similar to Haaland, how this kid has taken to the league, I think he's done a phenomenal job and he's been cool, calm and collected for most of it. Interesting comment here on the keepers, and it's a good thing to keep in mind that Raya has made the most saves this season. He'd certainly be someone to consider as well, like you said, Rob. Let's debate. Let's debate. I want to do the other centre back. Have you two both got your new signing in there?
Definitely.
Rob convinced me.
I
think there's a couple of players that might feel hard done by. Tell me why him, Rob.
Well, number one, I think just straight off the bat, all the controversy of him coming in and too short and different league and wouldn't be able to survive. mate, this guy he's in the top against everyone in the top 6. He's nearly overcome all his battles, obviously except Haaland because we got pumped that day. Aerial threats, he's right up there with all the stats. Passing, like this guy's not just like I said, he's good with his feet. Forward passing's good. Mate, there's nothing I don't think that a new forward, like I said, for me, I think he's one of the best United signings in years for me. I think he's got aggression. I think he's smart. I think he's got pace. And I think he works good in when he's got someone like a Varane, and I think he'd work good with someone like a Saliba as well. So, look, I just think, like, if you're going to look at straight stats, obviously there's probably a few others there, like your Sven Botman, who's probably got more clean sheets and stuff. But again, my team's based on stats and the eye test. So I'm going for Lissandro. And it's not even a bias. He's my only United team. I'm putting him in there.
All right. Tom, anything you wanted to add on top of Rob? You said that Rob convinced you. Who were you thinking prior to Rob?
I was close in regards to, and I think a lot of people do this when they put in, especially in terms of teams of the season and sort of favourite 11s, especially in the centre-back position. I think we do look at partnerships. We always have 2 defenders together. And I do, look, I'm not a huge fan of Gabriel, but you'd have to look at how they are playing together. And they have got a bit of a partnership. And I was thinking you might as well throw the 2 in there together because they have done quite well as a pairing. But ultimately, I took a step back and Rob put me in my place and reminded me of Alessandro Martinez. And look, just the way everything Rob said is completely correct in regards to the way he's sort of winning everything and the way he's proving people wrong. The narrative the pressure that he was under, he's a big money signing, Erik ten Hag's former player. So there's huge pressure. He had to hit the ground running. If he had a bad start to this season, he would have been labelled a flop and we'll all be demanding him to come out. So he's that huge pressure to deal with. But ultimately, he's galvanised it. Obviously, there's such an issue at the other end of the pitch with Ronaldo. But at the other end of the pitch, he's galvanised this team. And he's almost like you get that box-to-box central midfielder who drives the team forward. He drives the team forward from the back, and not through much passing or dribbling, which he does have, but just the attitude and the mentality. He really is a driving force behind this team. And he is a cult hero at Man United, but ultimately the performances are there to back it up. And I'd love to get your thoughts because obviously Arsenal have defended quite well this season, very un-Arsenal-like, but there is a shout for the 2 Arsenal defenders.
Gabriel Magalhaes, to me, so error-prone at times, and I think Saliba has covered him a fair few times this season. Don't get me wrong, he's had his games where he's covered Saliba, but by and large, Saliba has been the main man in the central defence for Arsenal. So I'm okay with Martinez. I do think Newcastle fans might feel a little bit hard done by. Botman has been very good too. Very, very good. So,
well, should we just continue with we'll go from the back four and we'll move forward then so we're not all over the place or what?
Yeah. Let's do that from now. Just give me a second. I'm trying to find a picture that I actually like. It's a little bit see-through. Not Emi Martinez. We don't want him. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find. Here we go. His FIFA rating is not very good. Let's go to right back because to me, there's been 2 real standouts, but I'm leaning mainly towards, and this is so rare, Borche and I are actually agreeing for once. This guy, Kieran Trippier, has really shone for me. You guys talked about a talisman in Martinez, like a guy who's galvanized the team. I think Kieran Trippier has been that man for Newcastle. And even though I feel that Ben White has performed exceptionally well out of position, I do think in terms of overall impact on the team, Kieran Trippier has to be the man for me. Where are you at, Rob?
I've got Trippier in my team as well.
Wow, this is nice. Tom, did you disagree with us? We're going with Trippier, unless you can really persuade us.
Well, look, I will go Trippier because I think he deserves to be in the team. But as a Man United fan, I'm just going to put a solid case forward or just a sort of respectful mention of Diogo Dalot because the demands Erik ten Hag and Man United have placed on this guy this season. He's played every minute of every game for competition, Europa League, Premier League, etc. And ultimately, he was in a situation at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer where he sent on loan to AC Milan. He looked like his time at United was done. He came back and sort of Ralph Rangnick said, okay, I'm going to play you over Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And ultimately, he took his chance and he hasn't looked back. And look, Kieran Trippier, I think, has been the best right back this season, so he goes in it. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on what Diogo Dalot is doing now. I think from memory, Rob, obviously, you know a lot more about international football than me. Every time I see Portugal play, he plays it right back over Cancelo. I think he plays over towards the left-hand side. Now, that's not to say he's better than Cancelo. I'm sure we'll get into that at left back, but he's a starting right back for Portugal a lot of the time. Now, Portugal, whatever we think of them going into the World Cup, is a big nation and with hopes to win it. So I do look at Diogo Dalot this season and think he does need a little bit of respect. But I would go Trippier in regards to this argument.
Yeah, I think Dalot's had a good season. Ben White's still my second in line for this, and not by much at all. The only reason I've gone Trippier is that impact on the team as a whole. So, look, I think we're all relatively happy with that. Let's go off left back then, Tom. We left you till last for right back, so you can kick us off here. Who's your left back?
Look, I watch a lot of football. I watch way too much football, probably like you guys. But in terms of sort of remembering performances and names and everything, sometimes it does escape. But every time I watch Cancelo play, now someone could say he plays on the right more than the left. From when I've seen him play, it's on the left in terms of one of those inverted fullbacks, and obviously the demands and sort of role that Pep Guardiola demands of him. Very unique for football. It's become more of a trend now in terms of the way they play, but in terms of introducing it to England, a very unique way of playing that. But he's a creative force. It's like playing a number 10 at fullback. Like, he gets the ball and he dictates play. And I remember he came to Old Trafford a few years ago. Rob, you remember, with Juventus. I think Paulo Dybala scored a 1-0 victory. Cancelo played right back for Juventus, and he was the best player on the pitch. He ran the show from right back. And I think he does that so often for Manchester City. So, unfortunately, even as a Man City player, I would have to go the Portuguese fullback.
Robbie?
Look, as we're going to say, mate, I think that that back 4-5 nearly pick itself. And again, in my team, I've got Cancelo. So I think this is where the green is going to maybe come to an end. But I think that they have been the most informed and the most best back five, I think, of the Premier League season so far. So I think that was a bit easy, that back part. What about you? Did you have Cancelo as well?
Yeah, look, it's hard to go against him. And he's just...
I don't think he's been amazing to this season. I just don't think there's anyone been that much better than him, if I'm being honest. Like, because I came to it, I'm like, oh, he's been good, but he hasn't been at his best. I've seen him play better. He's had a couple of red cards, I think, here and there. He's given away a few penalties and stupid fouls. Obviously, yes, he's an assist king. He bombs up and down. He can defend, but he's definitely had a couple mistakes in him this year. And Man City, as a unit, haven't kept many clean sheets. But look, I just put him in there because I don't think there's anyone really better standing out than him.
Yep, absolutely. It's hard to argue with you on that. So let's just move right on. We don't want to drag it out too much. You speak about an assist king, but I do know a certain Belgian who may feel a little bit upset at not being called the assist king, and that's Kevin De Bruyne, who for me, again, is having a sensational season. Statistically, he leads the league in assists. And I'm only looking at Premier League stats, not even European competitions. He's got 9 assists. The next player underneath him is Bukayo Saka with 6. So 9 assists. His team's flying. They've had a couple of off games. But it's very hard to go past Kevin De Bruyne for one of those central spots. Did you boys both have Kevin De Bruyne in there, or have you left him out?
I do have him in there. I don't know about Tom.
Yeah, no, he goes in for me, unfortunately. And look, you take away the Ronaldo Messi debate, you take away, obviously, Erling Haaland and the numbers he puts up, Kylian Mbappe. Besides all those sort of big names and goal scorers, unfortunately for me, Kevin De Bruyne is the best player in the world. I think he's the best footballer in the world at the moment. That pains me as a Manchester United fan. But I think he's absolutely brilliant. And if you're the best player in the world and you're playing well, I think that gets you into a Premier League team of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, again, he's topping that assist chart by far. He's just got the class, the touch, the vision. He's an excellent player. He's as good a central midfielder as you'll see in this league. And I know my man JC from Arsenal Analysed agrees as well. So when 4 legends like us all agree, we just go with it. The other central midfield position, this one, and we don't disagree on these things. A lot of the time people watch these and they can't understand how you can disagree. It's quite subjective. Rob talks about using the eye test a lot. I tend to lean more towards my stats. And I think, Tom, you seem like a perfect mixture of both. Now, there are so many good players who could slot into this position that I'm finding it really hard as well to settle on one. But Robbie, I'd love to hear who you've got.
I don't know. Yeah, look, I don't know if it's controversial or not, but I'm putting Granit Xhaka in there. I think he's not from someone who's been a very much not a fan favorite at Arsenal. Look, number one, I think Arsenal is going to have quite a few players in this, deservingly so from their form, sitting at the top of the table. But I think he's really stood up from all the controversy this year. I think he's really the partnership is being when Partey or even when Partey is not there, whoever's partnering him, he's really bossed that midfield. He's chipping in with goals and assists. He just looks like an actual leader for a change. Like I know as well the captain Arn's been previously, but I don't think any people have actually looked at him as a leader on the pitch. I just, I know that Odegaard's the actual captain this year, but I just think he stepped up and actually
he wears the armband, but Granit Xhaka, you can just see the players look to him on the pitch.
I don't know. I think he's been like someone that's really excelled this year from where he's been with Arsenal fans. And look, I know you guys are flying, but I just think he's been a big reason for that as well. I don't know why it's a random one, but I think he deserves the possibility there.
Fair enough, Tom. We've got a couple of shouts of Manchester United players in here. We've got Eriksen and Casemiro being called in.
Look,
and you've got this as well to make it. Go on, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, no, look, I don't want to cut Tom off. With the Eriksen one, he's been one of United's best players. And for me, Casemiro, I can't put him in as he came late in the window. For me, someone's got to be there from nearly day dot to be in a team of the season. That's just me. I don't like someone that... I think Casemiro has been great, but we have to think when he came, it took him 3, 4, 5 games before Eric put him in the team, and then it took him 1 or 2 games all up just to actually get into the rhythm and start playing as he has been playing lately. So for me, I don't think Casemiro deserves that over Granit Xhaka. And Eriksen, for me, in United, I think he's been one of our best players. In team of the season, I think we're pushing it.
Fair shout. Even on here, Tom, it's a lot of good names. Maddison, Xhaka, Thomas Partey, Casemiro, Bruno Guimaraes. Like, on form, these are all excellent players. I think looking at our formation too, that kind of rules Maddison out for me, because I almost see him playing more like higher up the pitch. Yeah, I think in terms of balance, I'd probably lean away from Maddison, although I think he's been an excellent player. He'd certainly be on my bench. But where are you? Do any of these names jump out to you, Tom?
Yeah, well, Rob was saying weirdly, but you're going to like this, Scott. Like, maybe you can't see it on my phone there. I have gone Granit Xhaka, and I don't like that I have, but I'm a sucker for in regards to, I've mentioned Diogo Dalot, I mentioned Alessandro Martinez in regards to the narrative and the story around them and sort of the pressure that can pile on a player in regards to their performances. And there's no secret what was happening around Granit Xhaka, both on and off the field in regards to his situation at Arsenal. I do look at the way he has turned that round. Now, whether that turns around to be a successful career at Arsenal, time will tell. But in the short term for this season so far, every time I have watched Arsenal play, he just looks like, look, I'm not completely sold on him as the great player sort of thing, but I do look at the improvement and what he's providing Arsenal. And you do have to say the way they're dominating games and playing on the front foot, he's very crucial. I would we had this, I think maybe when we started the podcast a couple of years ago in regards to, we're doing a combined 11s with Arsenal and United. We're always sort of tossing up who goes in the team, Xhaka or Scott McTominay. I look very similar situation in regards to, from what I remember of watching Arsenal when Granit Xhaka first came in, he was told to sit in front of the back four and dictate play. For every time I see an Arsenal play this time, he's not that number 6. He's sort of playing in that box-to-box role, which Scott McTominay's doing now. He's not been asked to dictate play and sort of spray passes around. He's been told, play in the number 8, get forward, make yourself a nuisance. And I see Granit Xhaka, especially, obviously he's got a great left foot. He's a very technical player, but he has that power. He's a big guy. He's a physical guy who gets about the pitch. And I think being able to do that higher up in that number 8 position, from what I've seen of him, he has been key for Arsenal. And from what I have seen on this channel and a lot of Arsenal sort of content creators, they are very pleased with him. And if they've turned their opinions around on him in regards to how bad it was, I think that goes to show how good he has been.
Yeah, he is a very good shout. I think Bruno Guimaraes, again, talking about that influence, I think he's been fantastic. Miguel Almiron as well, having an absolutely blinding season. But I do think I look at balance a lot with these kinds of teams. And I know I'm contradicting myself because I was just saying before how important stats are for me. Like Xhaka has contributed some goals, assists, not great. But he's doing a lot of that dirty work. And there's a lot of things that you can't always read through statistics. So I do think he'd be an excellent shout in there for balance. I'm not going to argue with 2 United fans saying, let's chuck in Granit Xhaka.
Who did you have?
No, look, I'll confess, I hadn't made my mind up. That's why I went to you two first. I was leaning towards Bruno Granite. Bruno and Granite were my guys, not your Bruno.
If we played a 4-3-3, you
Yeah.
could draw up a scenario where they both partner
Yeah.
Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah. But look, with the 4-4-2, we have to go this way. But if we did 4-3-3, Bruno Guimaraes is in there for me. Let's look at the left, boys. The left-hand side of midfield. I'll kick this one off. Call me bias, but Gabriel Martinelli.
He's in my team as well. Yeah.
Martinelli, for me, having a phenomenal season. The kid is going to be a great. He's going to really keep rising. I think his work rate, his press, the goals.
I've got a question for you, Scott. I was thinking when you said come on and I put Martinelli in my team, I was going to throw this to you and everyone in the live chat as well. Obviously, different ages, different stages of their career sort of thing. Obviously, Gabriel Martinelli has a history with Manchester United. Obviously, he came on trial to Manchester United a few times. Didn't go his way. I think Man United put all the eggs in the Mason Greenwood basket at the time to that be their project, and they went a different route. And he's sort of kicked on at Arsenal. Fair play to him. But I liken him, not in regards to the player or anything like that, but the situation in regards to the position, Marcus Rashford. At the moment, Marcus Rashford burst onto the scene, had this sort of great thing, and is he a striker or is he a left winger? When I see Martinelli on the left wing, I think he's brilliant, especially defensively in terms of his work rate and energy. I think he's hard to deal with. But ultimately, in terms of that Brazilian player, and obviously his next contract, he's going to be put on a big contract and big wages, and that's going to come with sort of potential, and not in a bad way, but he's going to develop an ego and want to progress in his career. I'm just thinking, what is the Arsenal fans' opinion of him? Is he a future striker or is he a left winger? Like in terms of, I see it as a potential. He's a young player, can't play striker yet, so he's out wide. And I think the future is potentially through the middle. But if he does go through the middle like Marcus Rashford has, it maybe doesn't suit his game as much.
Look, I think he can survive on the left, but more in that 4-3-3 system where you're playing more as an attacking left-sided player. But we know that the guy, he works hard. He works very hard. I think his future will be on the left because I don't quite think as a striker that he's quite there. He can be potentially, but I think he's more of a winger. That pressing, that tracking, and he's a good little tackler too. Like he gets stuck in. So I would go with him. A couple of other shouts though. Yeah, you've got Foden being mentioned in the chat. Obviously, this formation probably doesn't favour him too much. Also, Trossard from Brighton.
Well, I've
got him on the right.
I can't believe how much I've got him on the right, which he hasn't played. I don't think he's played on the right. Like he's played off the left the whole season. But I'm like, I think he's just in for a shout as well to be in the team of the season on his form and obviously like what he's done at a club like Brighton and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm honestly thought that would have been no one would have got that one Trossard. But yeah, I've got Martinelli and Trossard on both wings. Well, yeah.
I think Trossard, so have you got him on the right, Robbie?
I've got him on the right as well, only because
I do as well.
like I said, I've got Martinelli on the left, and I can't put two lefts there. But I still think he's been that good. Trossard, he deserves to be in team of the season.
So, boys, are we locking in? Are we killing two birds with one stone here? This is unbelievable.
Who have you got on the right, Scott?
Yeah.
Look, I'm biased. I was leaning more towards Bukayo Saka, but if we can chuck Trossard there, if Trossard can go there, I'm happy with that. If you boys are happy, I'm happy.
Trossard needs a move. I don't know why he's not linked with a big move. I don't know what club suits him. I don't know what club is best suited for
Chelsea,
him.
I think Chelsea are linked with him. It wouldn't surprise me in January if Chelsea go in for him, especially with the Potter links as well.
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to disregard the fact that it says left wing back because we're all in agreement that Trossard can certainly play on the right. He's good enough, and he does need to be in this team. I don't think you can put either of those guys out of the team. That leaves us then with one position. Last time we did this, there were almost punch-ups and friendship breakup.
I'm surprised. I'm really surprised.
It's RJ's fault. It's because RJ's not here.
Oh, yeah. Here, look at this, though, as well. Miguel Almiron. He has played more on the right.
Yeah. If you do it in form, like in the last 3 or 4 weeks, definitely within a shout.
Does that change it for you, boys?
True.
Would you drop Trossard to Almiron?
I'm a little bit like Jack Grealish, and I know it's harsh. I wouldn't do it like Jack Grealish, but I was never a huge fan of Almiron. I could see the funny side of what he was saying back in those celebrations. I've never been sold on him, but in terms of he's proven me wrong in recent weeks. So I wouldn't argue with anyone putting Almiron in there because at the end of the day, numbers don't lie, and he is backing it up.
So this is one of the ones that is an eye test thing for me because again, Almiron has been in form, especially the last month. But again, Newcastle as a unit are just flying, and that's what I mean. Like I just think that Trossard in Brighton, which have been up and down this season, I just think he's been really outperforming like what he should be. And yeah, look, it's an eye test one for me. He's really caught my eye this year, and I think he's been playing good. That's why I put him in.
Okay, boys, we've got one more striker left. Borche reckons it's got to be Ivan Toney. He's certainly in for shout. I'm tossing up between three guys. Ivan Toney is one of them.
Mitrovic.
He's not one of mine.
Wow.
He's not.
Okay.
Harry Kane is one of them. And Gabriel Jesus is the other. Based purely on the eye test and what he's done for our attack. I'm tossing up between all three of them. Now, when you look statistically, we've got, I'm looking at assists. Gabriel Jesus has 5 assists. He's the only one of the strikers I mentioned who's featuring up there. Haaland as well is there. But then when you look at the goals, you've got Haaland with 18, Harry Kane with 12, Ivan Toney with 10, Mitrovic with 9, and Jesus is not quite where I'd like him to be with only 5. So I'm happy to say no to Jesus, but I think he's worth a shout. Kane, Toney, you're saying Mitrovic, Robbie. I can see my man Jake is saying Mitrovic as well. He's got the same, almost the same as you. Where are you boys with this? I can't make my mind up.
Tom, you can go first on this one.
I went Harry Kane, and I think it's one of those things. I just look at what Erling Haaland is doing, and because Erling Haaland is in a league of his own, what he's doing is sort of unrivaled, and we'll all make the jokes. He's not even human. You have to take him out of the discussion, which he's already got his spot in the team. But take Erling Haaland and that unbelievable situation and story out of it. Look at Harry Kane. It's 12 goals now. Let's see Arsenal in the comments there. Mitrovic 9, Toney 10, Kane 12. Ultimately, he scored 12 goals. And that is in a team who doesn't kick him the ball. He stands up there for 80 minutes waiting for it. And I'm just thinking, ultimately, if you take Haaland's goals out of it and look at what Harry Kane is doing, ultimately, he should be the top goal scorer. Erling Haaland shouldn't be doing what he's doing. But Harry Kane, in terms, I don't know what his appearances are. I assume it's probably around 12 appearances, maybe. It's a goal a game. And I just think you do look at what he is doing, and it has to be Harry Kane for me. And over the last year or two, I have been really impressed in what a good player he is. Like, he's not just a goal scorer. I've always just thought Harry Kane, yeah, okay, he scores goals. But you watch him play. Now, maybe not so much in this Tottenham team under Antonio Conte at the moment, but he's a hell of a player. And for me, it would be Harry Kane. But the name's there. Hard to argue if someone was to favour someone else.
Kane is 15 appearances for 12 goals. Ivan Toney is 14 appearances for 10 goals. So not much difference there. I guess one of the points I'd argue for Toney is that he has, and I know Rob was saying this pre-stream, he's banged in goals against the big boys.
That's Mitrovic I'm talking about.
Oh, sorry, Mitrovic as well. But Toney scored against big teams.
Yeah, he has. Look, Toney and Mitrovic for me is a flippable coin. I would still put them both over. Well, I've got Mitrovic in my team. But again, this is another one, stats and eye test for me. I just think if you look at Mitrovic and Toney against top 6 opposition, especially Mitrovic, he's nearly scored in all of them. Kane has scored in none except the penalty against Arsenal. Standard. Standard. I just think, again, when you're looking at, Tottenham is a lot more quality around the team, even though they don't play as much as attacking football as they would like to. I still think they have a lot more quality players to support Harry Kane. Ivan Toney, I just think I think he personally should have been caught up in the England team. But and Mitrovic at a club like Fulham that just got promoted from, for someone who everyone doubted him definitely this season, as he's been in this situation before and smashed the records in the Championship, come back to the Premier League, everyone said he can't do it. Mate, he's got 9 goals, and I think he's probably had the least appearances out of all of them through injuries. Look, I think there's a shout for all 3 of them are definitely good. I've put Mitrovic in, but now I'm actually starting to think Tony should probably be in there. I still put them both in front of Kane, in my opinion.
All right, so we've got Tom saying Kane. Robbie's going with Tony. Live chat seems to be a little bit more Tony balanced. I am going to go with Tony as well, only because it could be, again, flip of the coin. Just the fact that he has scored against some of the big teams, whereas I know Kane, even against us in that North London derby, he always gets that penalty against us. It's standard, like death taxes and a Harry Kane penalty in the derby. But he has gone missing a lot when it's really mattered, and I think that's let him down. So we're going to have to go with Tony on this one. But Harry Kane.
It's hard, man. It's hard because I like to look at all of it as well. I like to look at penalties, and I am pretty sure as well Tony's had a lot of penalties as well, as obviously he's been pretty flawless. And again, it's a skill in itself, but I know like it's quite easy to rack up goals when it's from 6 yards out, 1-on-1 with a goalkeeper. So it takes a little bit of skill out of it. It's a hard one, honestly. For me, I think this is the hardest position. And if you even look at Haaland, obviously City is flying, but you look at how many goals? 18 goals he scored. I think he's got
like that.
Three games he scored a hat trick, so that's 9 goals within 3 games. So half of them are all tap-ins. You know what I mean? Like some of them were freakish goals, but it's just like how people were saying last year with Ronaldo. Like when we were talking up Ronaldo's stats, he had bursts. Like he had a hat trick in 1 game against Spurs, and he had 2 here, 2 there. Then he went 7 weeks without a goal. Look, Haaland's there because he's been consistent and smashing the goals in. I don't know. I still think it's hard. Like I had the other 2. Now you guys are kind of convincing me about Kane. So it's very hard, that one.
Look, for now, I think we can leave this team. Obviously, for me, quickly, the manager would be Mikel Arteta. What he's doing with the players he has, phenomenal.
Ten Hag, man. Ten Hag. I'm joking on that.
You know what? We may, this time next season, I dare say we'll see a lot more Manchester United in this team, and Ten Hag will be doing a lot better than he is now. You're certainly on the up. It's hard to argue against that, but I think Arteta's been the goods this season, and him and our team have overperformed a lot of the expectations. So he's the gaffer for me.
Yep. I'm cool with that.
Are we good? Well, let us know what you think of our team of the season so far. Let us know, especially about that Trossard call. Would you put someone else on the right? Granit Xhaka in the middle, Ivan Toney up front, maybe Harry Kane? Comment on the video, smash the likes. Let us know your thoughts. Boys, we've been going almost an hour. I didn't want to drag this on, but you know what? That team of the season, we had some great discussions. So always good to do that with you. I'm going to chuck up the table, and we're just going to have a little bit of a look because we're at the almost midpoint of the season. I just want to ask you, and we'll do this almost like a quick fire in the interest of time. What's one team that has really shocked you, maybe positive or negative, and do you think this will be the top 4 at the end of the season? They're my 2 questions to you. What's one thing that's really shocked you this season, and who's your top 4 at the end of the season? Tom, you're the guest, so we're going to let you go first, mate.
Not in a condescending way, Scott, but Arsenal have shocked me. I did not see this, and I did not even see having a good season in terms of 2nd or 3rd. I thought it'd be much more of the same in regards to Arsenal sitting around 4th, 5th, or 6th, and would see all those problems. But they're seemingly a smooth ship off the field, and on the field they're getting the job done. So Arsenal have shocked me in regards to that. I remember before the season, now I'm shocking with predictions and memories. Rob, maybe you can re-jog my memory, but I thought out of the big teams, the one team that might struggle was Chelsea. And Chelsea are they might go on to have a sort of good season in the end of it, but at the moment look like there is sort of issues there. So Chelsea's sort of up and down form hasn't really surprised me. I think everyone is looking at Newcastle in terms of, is it a shock or should it be a shock? I'm not sure. We'll obviously have a different discussion after 35 games rather than 15. We'll be interested to see what position they're in. In regards to if it's top 4, look, a betting man might be smart money. I don't know, Rob. Can we put Man United in there in regards to taking our red hat off? I still think there is a case there. But look, if Liverpool, one thing Liverpool have shown in the recent years, they can win 15 games in a row. That is something they have in their locker. That's something Manchester United don't have. And then you look around there, Chelsea, etc. So top four, I would like to take Tottenham out of there. And if Newcastle could continue, I'm not quite sure. But I would go as a shocker. This is more of a hope in regards to seeing how the season plays out. I would like Arsenal, City, United, and Newcastle in no particular order in regards to that. But that's what I think the top four would be at the moment as things stand.
Who wins the title, Tom?
Look, I think City do win it, but Scott, I don't know if you like this or not, or don't like this. I'm not sure. I want Arsenal to win the league. It's got to say, if City win it, that's 3 in a row for them. I don't want Liverpool to win it. The lesser of two evils. I'll be all aboard the Arsenal train. Now, can they win it? Look, I think the smart money is on Manchester City, but at the moment, a 5-point gap. I know you'll try and sort of distance yourself, Scott, and I'll do the same thing. But you're in a title race. You should go and try and win this title now. You can't say, "Oh, no, we'll try and prepare for next season." You have to approach January as you're the title favourites. Go and deliver. Now, it's not to be critical if you don't deliver. Okay, that these things can happen. You can go for it and lose, and that's life. Manchester City are the better team at the moment.
You've got to have standards, though, Tom. You've got to have expectations. You've got to have standards, yeah?
So in regards to the title, look, if I was putting money, I'd say Manchester City. But look, even as a United fan, as things stand, when I look at that table, I would prefer Arsenal.
Robbie, your top four and your shock.
Oh, look, my shock has to be Liverpool. I had them winning the league this year. So I had them winning it, which obviously we didn't want to have. And it's just the shock is the drop-off for me. And like I said, their form at home has been crap, and they haven't been super injury-prone like a couple of years ago. They haven't looked like, Mane is gone, and they did bring in a big money signing with Darwin. And it's just, I've never seen Klopp change his system this many times. It's normally 4-3-3 and the same system since he's been there. He's chipped and changed for different things. 4 at the back, 3 at the back. Don't press this, press. It's just Liverpool for me. Like I said, I had them, and I really thought that they were going to do it this year, especially after they had the Charity Shield win over City early on in the year. They just look like, wow, okay, they're going to really go. Unfortunately, especially after missing out on nearly the quad last year. So they're my shock. And like I said, they're sitting there on the table, 5th or 6th, whatever it is. But if you look at how many points they are behind you guys, that's at this time of the season, that is massive, considering that for the past 3 or 4 seasons, they've gone with 1 or 2 losses in the whole season. So they're my shock. Top 4, I don't say that as a top 4. I think Spurs and Newcastle will drop. And I don't think that's disrespectful to Newcastle. I think they're absolutely flying at the moment. And I said at the start of the season, if they get 7th, I think that's amazing for them. So if they can get a Europa League spot, that's even better. I don't think they have enough to go all the way to a Champions League team. For me, at the start of the season, you could see how strongly I was against United even getting close. I had us 6 at best, maybe 7th. I actually really do think we can get 4th. I think we need to go in, obviously, with the whole – we need to strengthen up top. We need a striker, and that's not because of Ronaldo. That's in general. We need someone that's going to – we need a 20-goal striker at the end of the day, someone that's going to bang the goals in.
That'd be nice. Which is, where do you find them, Robbie? Where are they in January?
You don't get them. It's hard to find them, let alone in January. But look, I just hope we need to go give someone a good backup that's going to push for competition with Martial when he's fit. But I really do like what Ten Hag's doing. I think all the players we've bought have been really positive. I think we are a little bit on an uphill trajectory. I didn't expect it this quick. I just hope we continue and keep it consistent. But I think we can get 4th. It's hard for the other one, man. I really can't say who's going to make it. Like I said, that 3rd position, I really think you guys and City for me got to take the top 2 spots. I think we can get into the 4th. I'm really undecided who's going to make that last position or the 3rd position.
Okay, all right. And title for you, Rob, at this point.
Obviously,
barring like catastrophic injuries or someone
signing
like
Mbappe. Yeah, I'm just going to base it off the season. And again, it's not being disrespectful to Arsenal because you guys have been leading the race the whole time. I just think, as Tom said, that the smart money, I think with everyone, even Arsenal fans, I think would say that the smart money is on City just because they've done it. They've got the squad. You guys, like you said, are not as in-depth as them. You guys haven't got as good a bench as them. I won't even say the whole manager thing now because I really think that Mikel has really improved over the last season or two, and obviously being an apprentice under Pep, he's nearly kind of he's getting towards that Pep status in an Arsenal way, if you know what I mean. So look,
Yeah,
I think you guys are just he's not. I'm not going to say he's Pep. Like Pep's won
yeah. I
Champions
was like,
League, Pep's
oh,
won the
that's
league,
big
but
praise.
you know what I'm saying. Like he's learned.
Yeah.
He's an apprentice, but you can see that his apprentice is starting to become a tradesman now, if you know what I mean. So
Just a quick question for you, Scott. Just a quick question, Scott. In regards to draw up a scenario, say end of February, March. Let's say maybe the point difference changes. Maybe City are 4 points ahead of Arsenal, and Arsenal are still in the Europa League. What would Arteta's sort of preference? Does he look at a potential trophy in the Europa League, or does he think, well, okay, maybe if City slip up, we can take advantage? Because you are, after the World Cup, in regards to this congested season, you are going to have to take, all the clubs are going to have to prioritise one competition over another.
I honestly think with Mikel Arteta, he just pushed for both. I mean, we're out of the Carabao Cup, so that's one less fixture for us. I just have a feeling we're not going to get very far in the FA Cup, and I think if we did fall out of the FA Cup early as well, he would chase both. But if it's 4 points, it would depend on a lot of things like the games that are left, the situation of the squad. I think for Mikel, he really wants to measure the growth of the squad in the league. So I do see him really prioritising the league, particularly now. Like the Europa League has some very good teams in it. It's nowhere near a Mickey Mouse Cup like that. It's got to be league places. I agree with Luke here. The money's with the league places. Follow the money. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
I definitely agree. I think he's if he had to pick, he's definitely going for the league. You guys are top of the league now. Top four is your accomplishment this year. You guys need Champions League football from position in the leagues this year.
Yeah, I agree. Look, for me on that, my biggest shock, you both took I had one ready and a backup. Liverpool and Arsenal were mine. But Newcastle, we've already mentioned them, so I won't go too far, but I think they're just doing this a lot quicker than I thought they would. So they didn't even go out and make that necessarily massive marquee like Mbappe, Gabriel Jesus kind of signing. They didn't have the huge marquee, but they've made really smart signings like Bruno Guimaraes, excellent signing, Trippier coming in, the leadership, the experience. I think they're a little bit ahead of schedule, and I actually have them holding on to a top 4 place. I think playing at St. James's Park is a nightmare. You'd hate to go and play there as an opposing team. And there's just really good vibes around the club. Like their fans are amongst the most passionate in the world. They get right behind them. There's just buzz. And I'm a big believer in like positive energy and winning as a culture. And at the moment, their culture is all positive and winning. So I have them holding on to 4th place, barring no major injuries. And I'm not locking anything in. I mean, this show is what it is. It's a almost halfway point of the season call. We're going to make some little predictions. I predicted Liverpool to win the league. So clearly my predictions aren't anything you should bank on, but I do think we hold on. I'm just, again, that culture has shifted for me. We're more resilient. We're fighting more. And barring major injuries, because our squad is paper thin, major injuries and we could fall many places on that table. But I think we could hold it. I'm going to go with Arsenal, City, Manchester United and Newcastle. I think you guys are on the up. And if you can play this Ronaldo situation well, the Glazers are really going to want to make a statement and put themselves firmly back in the shadows where they're not being talked about. What better way to do that than bringing in some big players and your team winning football games? So interesting, boys. It's been
Who's your winner, Scott? Have you guys
Arsenal?
You got Arsenal winning the league.
Barring, again, and I can't stress this enough, barring major injuries. If we lost, for example, Granit Xhaka, Gabriel Jesus, and Saliba, we're done, man. Well, top 4 will be hard. So
even one of them, I think, even one of them
would make things very difficult. But if we can stay fit, I think we can do it. And I haven't had that feeling in a very long time. So, boys, it's been an hour and 10 minutes almost. So I'm not going to do a quick fire tonight. Robbie, do you have one? Look, I think we've spat enough fire tonight. We've done our team of the season. Let us know what you thought. We'll definitely share that on social media as well. Tom, we can't thank you enough for coming on, mate. The link to the United Pubcast is down in the description. Tom's Twitter handle is in his little portion of the screen. Give him a follow. He's my favourite United fan. Everyone knows it. He is the better version of RJ, better hairline, everything. Just an upgrade. You can come back anytime, mate. Tom, you guys got anything big coming up on the channel?
I'm sure this time tomorrow we'll be discussing a certain Portuguese forward. Seems like we do every single day, so I'm sure there'll be more quotes. Obviously, the interview for Ronaldo is going to be released in 2 parts over the next 48 hours or so, so it will be an interesting time as a Man United fan. But
Check
always
him out, people. Check him out.
I always appreciate it. Invite me on here. As I said, it's a bit of a ritual of mine watching on a Tuesday and Thursday night. I love it. So to join yours for a chat. And a bit too much Arsenal love for me, so hopefully get me on next time Arsenal hit a bit of bad form. Maybe after the World Cup.
Man. Watch it off.
But look, I'm looking forward to. I'm guessing you're doing a lot of World Cup content as well. So I know the Premier League stopped, but no, I'll be tuned in as always.
Beautiful. Yeah, we will be back actually, Tom, on Thursday evening, same time, with the IFT World Cup preview show. So that's always a lot of fun. We'll do some group predictions. We'll talk about some standout players. We've already had a few disagreements. There's a video dropping on Marty Mariner's channel, so make sure you tune in because there's certainly some fiery debate to come. But that'll be on Thursday night. Robbie, any final words, champion, before we let the people go?
I think we've covered it all, mate. You can sign us off and we'll see everyone on Thursday night.
Take care. Let us know what you thought of the team of the season. Let us know if we were right or wrong. And we'll see you back on Thursday night for the World Cup preview. Take care, everyone.
Ciao.
Cheers.